So I'm on my way to my first ever prostate exam. If this kind of stuff upsets you or makes you queasy, I'm going to be talking about my junk, so you can skip this video. But I've turned 40 and a bit, and I've, over the past year or so, been having some difficulty urinating. My stream hasn't been that powerful, it's been weak, and a couple of other issues have risen that made me think that maybe it's time I get the old boy checked out. It's funny, I've been going on these distinguished gentleman rides for a few years now, and I wear the pin and I collect the money, but I haven't gotten my prostate checked myself, and that is, I think it's probably par for the course for most of us men. You know, as long as you're not kind of pissing blood, you don't really want people poking around down there. And I've had 40-odd years of clenching my cheeks, so the notion of someone rooting around in the back door region isn't a pleasant thought to me either. So I put it off, and today I'm on my way to see what it's all about and see if there's anything I should be aware of and kind of just get it out of the way. It's funny, I have a teenage son, and it was really him who was the one who suggested I go and get checked out because, you know, he wants me to be around for a bit. I've had some people close to me have prostate cancer, and luckily they caught it early and the treatment was successful. But the notion of having a radioactive chip put down in my taint and have it slowly kill any cancer cells is not something I'm particularly want to happen. But you know, my grandfather used to say it beats the alternative. When I made the appointment, I was asked if I wanted a male or a female doctor. And generally when it comes to medical questions and medical exams, I'm not too bothered one way or the other. But I decided to opt for a male doctor. And then I was thinking this morning, a male doctor probably has larger gauged fingers than a female doctor, so maybe I should have opted for the female. Anyway, I got a male doctor. Hopefully he's not too embarrassed about the whole process. I'm sure he isn't. But we'll go see what they have to say. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out the other side, so to speak. I've endured my first prostate exam. I had a kindly young doctor, and he had no idea what I was coming in for. Hey, what can I do for you today? Well, I did make an appointment for a prostate exam. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I guess, you know, I took some time to brace myself, prepare myself. I got showered, spent significant time freshening up my nethers. I even put a little Gold Bonds medicated powder down there. It's an unpleasant task. You know, if that's your job to stick your finger up someone's ass, you know, at least the ass should be relatively clean. So I went in all fresh and clean as a daisy. Oh, okay, all right. You're here for a prostate exam, all right. I had to it's okay. I had to talk him down a bit. It's all right. It's gonna be all right. I know I'm hairy. So he asked me my symptoms. I went into more detail than I did with you all earlier. And he said, oh, okay. Well, those are symptoms of an enlarged prostate. So it's good that you've come in. Oh, he did say, did we ask you to come in for a prostate exam? And I said, no. I just figured I should put my money where my mouth is. Or where something is. So he said, okay, I'm gonna have you take off your trousers, lay down on the table on your left side, bring your knees as far up to your chest as is comfortable, and relax. He pulled the curtain, I dropped trow, climbed up onto the table, pulled my knees up to my chest, said, I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you, doctor. He came over and handed me a wad of tissues and said, here's some tissue for you to hold on to. I thought that was odd. And he said, okay, I'm just gonna look around the area before I start the full exam. He said, just relax. He said, I'm gonna have to enter through the rear passage. You don't say. I thought that was an amazing turn of phrase. Enter through the rear passage. He said the prostate runs from the back straight to the front, and he'd have to examine the full length. And I said, okay, you gotta do what you gotta do. So he said, I'm gonna just look around the area, examine around the area before I start the exam. He said, just relax. And then slipped 2 fingers into my rectum, pressed pretty far in. Obviously there was a bit of discomfort. Said, I'd say probably 3.5 to 4 seconds. Took his finger out, or fingers, took his fingers out and said, all right, you're all done. Well, I thought there was going to be a bit of warning before I'm going to look around the area before I start the full exam. But if the full exam's 3.5 seconds, then I don't know what I was so worried about. It was a painless procedure. He said my prostate seemed a normal size, but as a part of the process, we go ahead and have urine and blood tests to rule everything out. He said the blood tests are a bit of a bitch because you could have a positive and a high percentage of the time you don't have cancer, and you can have a negative test result and 17% of the time you can have cancer. So, you know, when you're donating money to these research organizations, generally it's those tests, the reliability of those tests that they're trying to improve upon. But even with those odds, it's better to get checked than not. Some of the questions he had asked in the examination was, do you have trouble urinating? After you urinate, is there any dripping or trickling? Do you have trouble with the power of your stream, with the amount of urine? Do you have trouble attaining an erection? He said the blood tests had to be done after 48 hours of abstaining from sex, masturbation, or rigorous exercise, because that can affect the test results and engorge or swell the prostate. So if erectile dysfunction is a symptom that you're experiencing and you're ignoring it because of embarrassment or because, I don't know why, any reason you might ignore something like that, getting a prostate exam might address that issue as well. All in all, including the time in the waiting room, it was 15 minutes of my life. And it's a life that I can prolong if I get regularly checked. Also, the lovely thing about living in the UK is our healthcare is covered through our tax burden. My tax bracket is in the higher tax bracket. I pay quite a high percentage of my take-home income in tax, but I don't walk away from doctors or hospital visits with burdensome bills. I don't have insurance premiums to worry about. I don't have to worry about approvals for tests. The NHS is the greatest Western civilization invention, and it's under threat right now here in England and the UK. And hopefully the citizenry cannot be seduced by whatever arguments are coming from America or big business, because I was in the high tax bracket when I lived in the US. I had burdensome medical debt and medical bills, and I had very good insurance. So there's really, for a man living in the UK, there's no excuse not to be regularly checked. And in some circumstances, you gotta pay extra for someone to stick their finger up your ass.
If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.